What's going on, guys? I'm Lakota from Meyer Mediums, and this is a gentle reminder that sometimes your art sucks. Fall is a pretty busy season for most creative people because there's usually a big demand for autumnal arts, crafts, and decor. So I've actually been pretty busy this past month just trying to get out all of the Halloween art that I possibly could. I almost never get to put out as much as I wanted because something always comes up. This year, for instance, I was haunted by some sort of stomach plague, but I was happy with how much I put out this year. I had more planned, but things happen sometimes. Out of all of the Halloween art pieces, though, there was one that I had really high hopes for, and it completely missed the mark. It was a watercolor piece I was going to call the Ghost-a-Lantern, and the concept was that it was going to be a floating jack-o'-lantern with a death shroud, and you would be able to see the orange of the pumpkin showing through the shroud. And the shroud was going to have this eerie glow to it. I kind of wanted it to be a really pale green, kind of like Slimer, but a little bit more pale than that. I wanted to keep it pretty simple though, and it was a really cute design, I thought, but like I said, it just fell completely flat. I like to do a lot of my fall designs on brown cardstock, and normally orange and white watercolor or gouache really pop on that kind of paper, but it didn't work for this piece. I couldn't let it go though because I had taken the time to film it, as you see here. Problem is that the finished product sucked, which is why I decided to retry it, but digitally. And that turned out to be a much better idea. So remember this, all ye artists out there. Sometimes your art is gonna suck, and that's okay. There's no avoiding that. Sometimes your projects are going to come out looking lackluster, and you might muck it up beyond repair, but it's probably not the idea that sucked, just the execution. Sometimes when I screw something up, I'll go at it from a completely different angle, or in this case, a completely different medium. And I think the design that I came up with really works. Also remember this, it's a good quote, I heard it this week, I'm not sure who it's by, but it's good. Remember that when you have to restart something, as much as it sucks, you aren't starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. Don't be afraid to start over. Aren't happy with how a painting turned out? White that thing out and go at it again. Don't like the way the song you're writing sounds? Change key and tempo, throw your bass player in the lake, and try again. Not happy with your kids' grades in school? Most cities have an orphanage, and new kids are free and fun to make. I'm just saying, break the chains that hold you back. Spread your wings and fly off into the winds of change. I'm going to start writing self-help books. For real though, I would love to know the numbers on how many lives have been ruined and families shattered because of life coaches and self-help books. I've gotten completely off topic, and I'm sorry. So here are the comparisons between my Ghost-a-Lanterns. The watercolor and the digital. I was really hoping that the watercolor piece was going to turn out, but I am so thankful for the powers of technology for saving my artwork and actually turning it into something that I think personally is cooler. The other thing is that this watercolor piece, it was actually a mini. It's an 8x8. With the digital design, I can actually blow that up to 12x12 or larger. I highly recommend it if you've been toying with the idea of jumping into digital art. Just do it. Plunge into it. It's a great investment. What else happened this week? My family and I got to go to the Beyond Van Gogh show in St. Louis, and it was, as the kids these days would say,
lit as French toast, boy.
For real though, it wasn't anything like what I thought it was going to be. It was really kind of shocking because I was thinking it was going to be a bunch of installations, but instead it was like stepping into a living Van Gogh painting, and the paintings would change by melting down the wall and turning into a river of like paint on the floor. The portraits would blink and the stars from Starry Night would swirl in the sky. It was really neat. But the coolest transition of all was the almond blossoms blowing off the trees. I've had dreams where that's happened, so that was like super surreal. Anyway, it was cool. I highly recommend it. If you're in the St. Louis area, the tickets are like $25, I think, and it's over by the Galleria. You should check it out. I do enjoy Van Gogh. I know that's kind of the basic popular thing to say. Yeah, everybody likes Van Gogh. But for me, I've never cared for Impressionism, which is sort of the style that he does. It's just never tickled my fancy, like, at all. I've never looked at a Monet piece and thought, whoa, I would love to hang that in my house. All right, I'll give Monet one piece. The Path on the Island of St. James, I think, is the title of it. That one's okay, but it's pretty much it. I think most Impressionist pieces give off a really bleak feeling, and I've just never cared for it. And there's a good amount of Van Gogh's work that I don't think is that great either. For instance, I've never really cared for his portraits, but of all the Impressionists that I've seen, and I've seen a lot, out of everything I've seen, I think that Van Gogh is the best. If not the best, the most unique. His landscapes and his plants, the way he paints them makes everything look like it's in motion. And I really enjoyed that. Where a lot of other Impressionists use so much blue and white, and it just ends up looking like a muddy, rainy fall day. A lot of his stuff is very warm. A lot of warm colors, like Starry Night. There's something warm about that piece. Obviously, his night skies are impressive because the Starry Night is clearly his most popular piece, but actually, I think that Starry Night over the Rhone is better. Also, Cafe Terrace at Night. That's another favorite Van Gogh piece of mine. Okay, last thing. I wanted to share something spooky with you guys because it's Halloween night, but I wasn't sure what that was going to be. Well, check this out. Growing up in the 90s, some of the content that aired on TV was a little extreme. And some of those extreme things that they aired were our commercials. There was a TV spot for a video game that I only saw one time around the age of 6 or 7. So like, I don't know, 94. One time was all it took to jack me up. It is one of the only pieces of TV media that gave me nightmares as a child. And it drove me crazy because I went looking for this video multiple times throughout the years on YouTube and I could never find it. I had almost convinced myself that I made this up, that this commercial didn't exist. And it is the commercial for Alien vs. Predator for the Atari Jaguar. The reason I couldn't find it is because I was searching for Sega, and that didn't exist. So one day on Facebook, a friend of mine was talking about some other lost media, actually another terrifying commercial, and I brought up this commercial. And someone actually found it and tagged me in the link, and it is just as terrifying as I remember. And I'm going to share it with you right now.
Introducing Alien vs. Predator for this. You might not want to play it alone. Ah! Mom.
They sure don't make commercials like they used to. That mom's dead hand playing with the back of his neck. Imagine being 6 years old in 1994 and you're watching a Nickelodeon Halloween special and this flashes across your TV. I think there's a reason I only ever saw this commercial one time because I'm pretty sure some exec was like, whoa, that wasn't supposed to air at 7 p.m. on a kid's channel. That was meant for 8 p.m. on MTV, so it never came across any of the channels that I was watching as a child ever again. Let's get a look at that hand one more time. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what piece of childhood media destroyed your sanity, or what your favorite Van Gogh piece is, or who your favorite Impressionist is. Maybe I'm being too hard on them. Maybe I need to be exposed to more Impressionists. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Have a great week, and happy Halloween, people. Be safe out there.